Hello, everyone. So we have covered how to declutter your mind in the last 2 episodes with Saahil Mehta. And today, again, we're covering how to declutter your body. It's a topic we always talk about: diet, eat, don't eat, vitamins, supplements. It's a huge topic. We're not going to dive in so deeply today, but we're going to be covering very important aspects. You've mentioned in your book, Saahil, that if you feel it's not right, then probably it's not. What do you mean by that?
You know, the body is constantly giving you signals, right? It's always telling you things. The question is, May, are you listening? Because the body tells you, I'm tired, I need rest. I'm hungry, feed me. I'm injured in some way or shape or form, please attend to it. But in my case, my life was so busy, I just ignored these messages.
Yes, we ignore it a lot.
Right? And now I'm a lot more aware. In fact, every now and again, I might even do a quick body scan. And I'll just say, let me sit still for a minute and just kind of scan from head to toe and just kind of feel how things are. Right? Because again, the body is this amazing, complex machine that's always speaking to us. Are we listening?
Are we listening?
Yeah.
And this also takes practice, right? Like you cannot just listen right away as long as you are doing some kind of breathing exercises, some minor meditation exercises that would help us to listen to our bodies. Is that true?
It can be so much simpler than that. Just pause.
Just pause.
Just pause and just kind of feel, just sit there and put everything aside and just do a quick body scan. How am I feeling right now? Let me just go from head to toe.
Talking about that, sometimes you injure yourself and there will be bleeding and you're not even aware of it. It happened to me many times. Like, oh, I got a bump. Oh, I'm bleeding, It's like your mind is a totally different place. Yeah. Okay, so when you talk about eliminating food items that are harming our bodies, we ask every time, Mr. Google, what do we need to eat? What is the right diet? And we get trillion of answers that cannot be always right for us. So how do you know what kind of food is harmful for our bodies or good for our bodies?
So I love what you said. We all are individuals that are, unique as like the fingerprint, right? There's no two bodies which are the same. So
True.
Google may give you a generic and general answer, which might help you a little bit. But in reality, we have to start listening to ourselves and not look for answers on the outside. The answers all lie within. So the next time you eat something and you feel discomfort, because that happens sometimes, right?
Right.
Ask yourself, what did I just eat? Did I have, for example, some artificial foods? I know when I eat something that's processed, I don't feel so good afterwards. It might taste yummy, right? But I don't feel so good afterwards.
But Sahel, sometimes I eat nonstop, so I don't know what I ate actually. It doesn't help because of the unawareness. You're just like munching around, eating everything, and then you end up not knowing what actually, bothered you.
Yeah, so just start making a note, and then after writing it down many times, you might see a pattern. Maybe every time you felt discomfort, you noticed that there was egg in the meal, or there were nuts in the meal, or there was dairy in the meal, or there was a certain type of meat.
Have you done a test that you would be able to know what actually kind of affects you in a way, or you haven't done that?
In my particular case, I was eating something that was harming myself every single day.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a vegetarian by birth, and I love dairy. Dairy is a big part of my life. And I love it so much, I have it in every single meal, or at least I used to. But I found out through a blood test, it was a specific test called the intolerance test, I found out that dairy was actually harming my body, as well as a few other ingredients. And so I had to eliminate that from my diet. Now I was thinking to myself, oh my goodness, how can I stop eating something that I love so dearly? But here's the thing, the taste gives me temporary pleasure, but the body functioning at its optimal level is a far greater high and something that I wish to achieve. So I eliminated dairy from my diet, and all of a sudden, bloating disappeared. I lost 7 kilos of weight, and it was all fat. Yeah, it was all fat because I was monitoring my body composition. I started sleeping better. I woke up with open airways, whereas I used to wake up with a blocked nose. And I also realized, May, that I was deficient in vitamins when I did a blood test. And so I started to eat foods that were higher in those vitamins. And for a temporary phase, I took supplements as well because I was so low. And all of a sudden, my energy levels were higher. I mean, it changed my life. So your we talk about, everyone says you are what you eat. And I always tell everyone, no, it's not what you eat, it's what you absorb.
What you absorb. In your
because
book,
I
you
was eating
mentioned
the
that.
same food as my wife, and yet our reports were completely different,
So what you're saying here, it's important to understand yourself by going through the process of knowing what you are eating and also doing the right test and blood test just to know the supplements levels and everything else that you are doing, right? There's something else I want to mention to you. You've mentioned in your book that it's not only what you eat, but it's also what you put on your skin, because the skin represents 16% of our body organs. I don't know, I forget how you mentioned it, but 16%, this is a huge percentage. Why do you believe that the substance on our skincare products could affect us badly?
Look, so skin is your largest organ. Okay?
It's the largest organ.
Yeah, it's the largest organ. And as you know, it's permeable, so things get absorbed, right? So whatever you apply on your skin, whether it's a lotion, a soap, whatever it might be, makeup, everything, it's getting absorbed into your skin and getting down to your bloodstream. Now, as much as I'd love to trust the governments and all of these things, the reality is, if you look at the ingredients and you actually go through Google, as we said earlier, you do a search, you'll see that some of these ingredients, even though they're in small quantities, they're actually harmful for the body. And the beauty is, with awareness in the world today, May, is that you can get everything that's without chemicals that are harmful.
You have the option.
You have the option.
Very
they
true.
exist, So sometimes you might have to let go of that brand that you love, but there is an alternative out there. You just have to go looking for it.
Actually, I totally agree with you. And I have an episode with a doctor. We're talking about how would that affect us, and it has a huge impact on our health. So when you eliminate food that you are eating that's hurting you, definitely should also work on the skincare products, or even as you also said, the products that is at home. The washing products, the soap, the dishwasher products. All of these has a huge impact on our health.
For sure.
And our minds, right?
Absolutely, because when they use a cleaning product that's very high in chemicals, and that it releases fumes, and you're breathing that in.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. This is really harmful.
Right. So and everyone's gone a little. I would say there's more fear because of the pandemic that's going on right now. So everyone's like, let's use the most hardest chemicals that are out there to sanitize and this and that. But when you use, for example, a hand sanitizer excessively, you're also killing off a lot of bacteria.
When I did that, actually my hands were dry and I got some allergies. So I kind of stopped overusing the sanitizing products.
Yeah, I mean, use it as and when required. But, again, it's killing off also the good bacteria.
Yes.
Don't forget, not all bacteria is bad. There's a lot of good bacteria. And so by using all these products, you can potentially also kill off the good ones.
So going back to the awareness of what we are using on our bodies and in our bodies. Saahil, how do you work out? Like when I met you in your book launch, and I'm like, oh my God, look at him. He has a, like skinny body, flat. I think he works out every single day, maybe 3 hours. How do you work out? What do you do?
So I tell people that, do what feels right. Before I used to care a lot about how much can I lift, how much can I bench press. It was like a macho thing,
So to impress others, was it that?
I think it was to impress myself as well as others, for sure.
Yeah.
There is that. And then, you want to look good. You want to have those big guns, right? The big biceps and the chest.
Yeah.
And then I realized one day, because it also resulted in many injuries. And so I used to go for physiotherapy. And once the physiotherapist, he asked me, he goes, are you training for some competition? I said, no. He goes, as much as I love your money, because, every time you come here, is it worth it? And that's when that aha, it clicked in my mind. And I go, what difference does it make if I can deadlift 120 kilos or 80 kilos? It doesn't really impact my life. And I started to switch my focus rather than focusing on trying to have the perfect body, whatever perfect is, by the way. Till today, no one's been able to define what a perfect body is. But
it's the apps on Instagram where you can actually make your waist smaller or bigger. So there's many things that I can show you the apps. I use them.
Because everyone's view on the perfect body is also different.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't even know what the perfect body is. But I realized that I was chasing the wrong goal. I was chasing vanity versus why am I doing this? Now, why do I exercise? I exercise because I want to be able to climb mountains more easily. I exercise, I do yoga. I switched heavy workouts for yoga because I realized my body was tight and I needed to open it up. I needed the blood to flow and the energy to flow. So I started doing yoga, and yoga also helped balance the mind and the body. And so now I'm able to do certain, asanas, which I could only dream of before.
So you exercise with purpose, and you don't do it to impress just yourself and others, but there's always a purpose behind it, and a healthy, let's say, it's a very healthy concept of exercise, so, which I love. I love how you're looking at it. You also mentioned in your book fasting. You do fasting, and we always learn from our families you have to have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and the snacks. And this, when you started doing fasting the right way for you, it has also changed your body. Can you tell us briefly, how do you do the fasting?
So the first question is actually, why is fasting important?
Yeah.
Right? And fasting is important because in general, the body, like I said, is a healing machine. And when you're eating, after you eat, the body has to process the food. It has to digest it and then absorb all the right nutrients. So that requires energy. And anywhere from 10 to 30% of your daily energy goes into digesting the food.
Wow, that's a huge percentage.
So what happens when you fast, when you eliminate food for a temporary period of time, your body's energy is not required to digest food, and that can be used towards healing. So what I practice, and again, please, for the audience that's listening, gradually build this up, but twice a month I will fast for 24 hours. Like for the full day I won't eat.
I can't imagine doing that.
Right? And what happens, all I have is water. And if you really must, you can even have coconut water because that has electrolytes.
But everybody is different. I mean, they have to definitely talk to their doctor before doing any kind of fasting.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I do believe that a lot of us have it in our minds that we can't do it, when in reality, there are people who've gone days without food. So what fasting does is it helps to give that extra energy into the healing process. Mm. And so for fasting, many intermittent fasting, that's become very popular nowadays.
Yes,
where people
we hear it all the time now, everywhere.
8 hours and fast for 16 hours, because what happens is after a certain number of hours of not eating, your body goes into a mode called autophagy. And autophagy means your stronger cells start attacking your weaker cells. So again, that's a process of healing. So by not eating for, 14 to 20 hours, you're actually healing your body.
Beautiful. Before we end the Decluttering the Body, one of the most important topics that we don't give it as much attention as we should is sleeping and sleeping hygiene. Can you just go through it really quickly of what is the right time to sleep for you at least? Like how have you done it? And what is hygiene sleep?
Okay,
so sleep hygiene.
Sleep again is when healing is happening, right? You're going through physical and mental recovery. And I don't know about you, but I used to put everything as a priority over sleep. Sleep was like the last thing on my mind.
Yes.
And then I realized that, oh my goodness, I'm harming myself because I'm not getting that time to heal. So these are the few things that you can do to have a better night's sleep. Number one, get off all screens at least 1 hour prior to bed.
Oops.
All these screens are emitting blue light, and blue light hampers the production of melatonin, which is required to get a good night's rest. So by watching things, your laptop, your TV, your phone, you're actually hampering your sleep. So get off all electronics. 2, get into a sleep routine. The body knows that you're about to fall asleep. So just follow the same routine every night. Change into your pajamas, brush your teeth, dim the lights, or whatever that routine is, go through a routine. Number 3, make sure you have a gap of at least 3 hours before you eat your dinner.
Oh my God, I'm usually hungry just before bed. This is really hard. You're making it hard on me, Saahil, today.
Because again, we just spoke about it, right? When you're eating, that energy is required to digest the food. And the gastric emptying, which is when it goes from your stomach to your intestines, it's about 3 to 5 hours. So if you eat and you go to bed right after, your body's using a lot of energy in digesting the food, and then less energy goes towards sleep while you're sleeping.
True.
And then the final one is, it's not just the number of hours you get of sleep. It's also the time of day you go to bed. Because our body follows a natural rhythm called the circadian rhythm, which is in line with the sunlight. So usually between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. is when physical recovery happens. And between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. is when mental recovery happens.
So it's important to sleep by 10 p.m. till 6 p.m., let's say, if we can.
By 6 a.m., yes, ideally. Because the later you sleep, the less physical recovery you'll get. So you might wake up even with 8 hours of sleep and you go, oh, my body feels tired. it's because you didn't get enough of the physical recovery.
Yeah, or even maybe you ate steak just before you sleep, like yesterday. Saahil, thank you so much. This was absolutely great. We've learned so much about decluttering our bodies, and there's so much more details in the book that I've read. And next episode, we're going to be covering decluttering people. Thank you so much, and see you in the next episode.